Trade rumors are heating up for the San Diego Padres, and you got to feel for a team that was so close, yet so far to achieving their goal last season. And you got to believe that they're going to take a step back heading into this year. So I'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vrionis, and some unfortunate news coming out of San Diego as they're going to be looking to shop one of their more reliable and valuable players ahead of this season. But before we get into the video and all the trade talk, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Sorry about that, because about 97% of you who are watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So we're close to my goal of 3,000 subscribers, and the support has been unbelievable over the past few months, really. We're just growing and growing at a steady pace, and that's all thanks to each and every one of you who takes the time to like, comment, subscribe. It really means the world to me, so let's now stop it right there. But let's get into the news of the hour here, the news that is Major League Baseball up in arms, and that is Michael King, who is going to be available on the trade market per Ken Rosenthal. And Ken Rosenthal has been known to get some things wrong, but all signs have been pointing to the San Diego Padres really heading in this direction. And it's unfortunate because I think that they were the team that was best equipped to beat the Dodgers in a playoff series, and it ended up being true. I mean, they were the most competitive team out of everyone that had to go through Los Angeles en route to a World Series, but it ended up not mattering because they had a 2-1 series lead in the NLDS. And then we know the story from there. They just couldn't score runs. They couldn't put any pressure on the Dodgers pitching staff, which really turned the corner in that series. But they were so close, and we all said the same thing about them last season. You know, no Juan Soto. They traded him away. We thought that they were going to take another step back. We thought that they were going to maybe enter a rebuild. Wasn't the case. You had a bounce back season out of Manny Machado. You had Fernando Tatis Jr. healthy for most of the year. You had all of these things working in your favor, and the return that you got for Juan Soto from the New York Yankees, Michael King was the centerpiece of that, or at least he was last season. And there's nothing more that can be said about what kind of year that he had. 173 and two-thirds innings pitched, which was his first year as a full-time starter, an ERA under 3, and 201 strikeouts. So he did not look out of place for a second in the rotation after being a bullpen piece for the entirety of his career leading up to that. Maybe towards the end of his tenure with the Yankees, he got some starts every now and then, but he was a reliever for the bulk of his innings in Major League Baseball. And he showed that he can be not only a very good starter, but an ace-level starter, which is why, the Mets, with their rotation struggles and the uncertainty surrounding that unit that they should be all over this, and they have the prospect capital to get this thing done as well. So this Metcast podcast or whatever it is, sorry about that, they want the New York Mets to trade for Michael King and sign him to a long-term deal, which makes sense. And then we go even further into the numbers here. He had a 13-9 win-loss record, again 173 and two-thirds innings pitched, ERA under 3, 201 strikeouts. King has been made available as he enters the final year of his deal. So he's a pending free agent in a year's time, which could be a scary proposition for some teams that are looking to acquire him. Or in the Mets case, a team that is going for broke this year and trying to win a World Series, trying to challenge the Dodgers, this could be the exact piece that they need to get them over the hump. So that's one way that you could look at it. The other way that you could look at it is that, well, we might give up a boatload of prospects or a boatload of assets to get this guy, and he might leave us high and dry in a year's time. That is the risk that you take whenever you trade for a guy who has 1 year left before he hits free agency. And every team has had to go through that. They've all had to make that calculated decision. But Michael King is the kind of arm that can put teams over the top. Now, I'm trying to put it into terms, like how much it would cost to acquire him from the San Diego Padres, and I truly don't know. Like I don't have the exact answer, and I don't really know how many prospects it would cost because even though he was great last year, the sample size is fairly small when it comes to Michael King. The stuff is great. I mean that two seam fastball, the sinker that he possesses, it's truly one of the best in the sport. That's how dominant this guy can be. The slider, the movement on his pitches, the stuff, the location. He's an ace caliber pitcher, but can he replicate that same success that he had with San Diego last year over a full 162? Again, I don't know. We don't have the answer to that question if we're the team trading for him. So I love Michael King. I love what he brings to the table. And for a team like the Mets, I think it makes the most possible sense as well. And this is why. I mean, this is what I'm alluding to here. For having a top four payroll in 2025, the Mets rotation is very shaky slash underwhelming. I'm banking on Brandon Sproat making 20 plus starts in the majors this season. Struggled in AAA, but in high A and double A ball, he had 87 innings pitched, ERA just over 2, whip under 1, and some pretty solid peripherals there. But you look at the rotation, the 6 guys that are slated to be starting pitchers or at least contribute in some kind of role for the Mets this year: Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, Frankie Montas, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Paul Blackburn. Now, I look at this list, I see one ace caliber guy, and that is Kodai Senga. But you look at the ages as well, they're getting up there. 33 years old for Manaea, 32 for Senga, with an extensive injury history as well. Frankie Montas going to be 32. David Peterson going to be 30 once the season gets in full swing. Clay Holmes, who was never a starter before, is signed to be a starting pitcher, is 32 years old. Paul Blackburn, 31 years old, doesn't have the greatest stuff. So there's a lot of 3s and 4s in this rotation, and not really a true number 1. I guess Manaea would be their ace and Senga would be their number 2, but do you really have faith in Manaea going toe-to-toe with the likes of the Dodgers rotation, which has Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto? I mean, the list goes on and on. Roki Sasaki, that is the best rotation in baseball, and this doesn't even come close to comparing to that. So Michael King, maybe not on the caliber of a Blake Snell or Tyler Glasnow, but he ate a lot of innings last year, and he showed that he does have ace level stuff, or at least a high end number 2 kind of stuff. So I like that deal from a Mets perspective if they can get it done, if it doesn't cost them too much. But then again, it makes sense for them to maybe go for broke and trade a lot of assets to surround Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor with the best possible pitching staff that they can. But let me know in the comments down below how you feel as a San Diego Padres fan, potentially seeing Michael King walk out the door after one great season and then nothing else after that. And then which team do you see actually making the trade and pulling that thing off to acquire Michael King? Let me know in the comments down below. And I feel for Padres fans, man, because they were so close last year. They had such an amazing season, and I'm sure Peter Seidler would have been very proud. But shout out to the Padres for what was a great 2024. Hopefully, it can carry into 2025, and I will see you all tomorrow.